Okay, this video is going to cover Chapter 12 of Groundwork for a Better Vocabulary. If you want to follow along, you can open up to page 92. So let's take a look at the words here first and read them out and take a guess at their part of speech. Artificial, complicate, so the last sound is 8, conscience, counsel, detect, frequency, represent, temporary, transparent, triumph. So complicate is the only one we can really have a good shot at guessing just from the word. Take a look at these ones. Here's our first one, which is artificial, and this one is an adjective. So my uncle, who lost his left arm in an accident, was recently fitted with an artificial arm. Artificial flowers made of paper or silk last for years. So artificial means made by humans. But really, on page 93, let's see, artificial's number 10, made to imitate something natural. And that's the important thing. Something that's artificial is something that's made by humans, but the purpose of it is to replace something natural. So in the first example, the arm is artificial because it's replacing a real arm. In the second one, it's artificial flowers because it's replacing real flowers. Okay, so it doesn't just mean, we wouldn't say that a car is artificial because a car isn't replacing, you know, anything that is already there that occurs naturally in humans. In nature. Okay, so artificial things are made by humans to replace things that are naturally occurring in the world. Okay. All right. Here's our next one, which is complicate, and this one ends in that 8 sound, which makes it a verb. So cooking for a crowd is difficult enough, so I don't complicate the job with fancy dishes. I keep the food simple. Don't complicate the game with too many rules. So in this case, complicate means to make something difficult. On page 93, it's number 8. It says to make difficult by adding or involving many parts or details, to make something complex. Okay? So when we're talking about complicating something, again, it's making something difficult, but it's making it difficult by adding parts to it, well, like it said, making it more complex than it needs to be. So in the first one, it says don't complicate the job of making dinner. So the way that you would complicate it is by having many different fancy, intricate dishes. Okay, so you're adding a lot to it. In the second one, if you complicate a game, it means you have many rules. Have to remember all the rules. So complicate means to make something difficult by adding a lot of parts to it that are difficult to deal with. Okay, so our next one here is conscience, and this one is a noun, and it looks like conscience, but it's actually conscience. After Lena stole the earrings, her conscience bothered her so much that she couldn't enjoy wearing them. It's strange but true, but some criminals don't have a conscience. They really don't believe that it's wrong to cheat, steal, or even kill. So conscience is moral sense. And by moral sense, what we really mean is a sense of what is right and what is wrong. Which is basically the definition it gives on page 93, number 6. But a conscience is an inner feeling, or sometimes we say a voice that's inside of you, that acts as a guide to right or wrong behavior. So if you guys have ever seen the movie Pinocchio, which you might not have, but the Jiminy Cricket character is sort of the conscience, meaning that when Pinocchio is making decisions, Jiminy Cricket is there talking and saying you should do this or you shouldn't do that, think about what's right or wrong. In some religions, you know, we believe, you know, you believe that you have angels on your shoulders, and that, well, I guess that doesn't, never mind, I erase that. But your conscience is often set up by your parents, what your parents have told you, what is right and what's wrong. So you probably have had the experience where you're making a decision or you're about to do something, and you hear the voice of your mother or your father telling you, "Nah, you shouldn't do that," or remember what I told you. So that conscience is the sense of what is right or wrong behavior. This one is a little bit difficult because it sounds so much like conscious, which is the word from the last chapter, which means awake, but the spelling is quite different. But the pronunciation is very similar, so be aware of that. So our next one here is counsel. And this one is a verb. My basketball coach counseled me to work at the shoe store fewer hours each week so I could have more time to study. I counseled Angela to break up with her boyfriend. You can do better than a high school dropout, I told her. Pardon me. A counsel means to suggest. We can also say it's to advise or to give advice to someone. So counsel is on page 93. It's to give advice or to guidance to, or to advise. So counsel is a little bit more of a formal word than advise. Counsel normally is used when the person giving the advice has some experience or has some knowledge that will help the person who's receiving the advice. So in the first one, the basketball coach has some knowledge about how you need to do well in school, so he's giving advice based on that. In the second one, it may be that you have advice dating or going out with someone who is uneducated, and you're giving the advice from your experience. But keep that in mind that counsel is often advice that is given by someone who has the standing or the background to give the advice. Okay, our next one here is detect, and this is also a verb. If you detect a gas leak, leave the house immediately and call for help. Rachel never actually says that she dislikes Ron, but I detect a tone of dislike in her voice. So detect means to notice. On page 93, it's number 4. To notice, discover that something exists or is present. Detect, the important thing about detect is it's this idea of discovering. It means that you're paying attention to things and that you notice something. It's often used for when you notice that something bad is happening. That's a problem that maybe people aren't obviously aware of or obviously conscious of. So in the first one, the thing that the person detects as a gas leak is that some people may not smell that, and it doesn't seem like a problem, but it could make a big problem later. In the second one, she doesn't seem to say that she doesn't like Ron, but by detecting, the person is aware of it. So when you detect something, it means that you're paying attention, and oftentimes you're paying attention to something that's not very clear, but that may cause a problem. Our next one here is frequency, which is also a noun. Louise and Adam used to visit each other once or twice a week, but since Adam got married, the frequency of their visits has gone down. I don't like to watch movies on TV because the frequency of ads is so great. I prefer to rent movies and see them without all the interruptions. So frequency means rate. It's number 3 on page 93. The rate at which something occurs, how often something happens. So frequency, one thing to keep in mind, if we look at frequency, that we see that it's followed by of. It doesn't have to be, but oftentimes it is. Okay, so when we use the word rate, we're talking about how often something happens. So we've talked before about frequency adverbs. These are words like usually, sometimes, often. They tell you how much something happens. So frequency by itself doesn't tell you if it's a lot or if it's a little. It's just talking about how much. Okay, it's asking the question, or talking about how much something happens. The the second example, it reminds me of my wife, who really, she doesn't watch TV at all because she really hates the ads, because the ads come every 10 minutes. And now, especially with things like Netflix and Amazon, you can totally avoid ads. They don't happen at all. The frequency is 0. Whereas when you watch it on TV, the frequency is like every 10 minutes or something like that. Moving on to the next one is represent. Represent is a verb. Will you speak for yourself in court, or will a lawyer represent you? Tamika will represent her class at the student council meetings. So represent means to speak for. On page 93, represent is number 7, to act or speak for. So represent, when we say speak for, it means that you are talking for somebody else. Like, you are using, the reason that you're speaking is to help or to speak for someone else. It's often a term in which you have been given the authority to speak for the other people. So in the first example, if the lawyer represents you, it means that you say, okay, the lawyer will talk for me. In the second one, this girl Tamika, the class, her class of students have said, okay, Tamika is going to speak for us. In the U.S. government, there in the Congress, there's 2 parts. There's the Senate, and then there's the House of Representatives. So representatives comes from this word represent, meaning that they are there to speak for the people of the country, because obviously all the people can't go to that place, so we elect one person to go and speak for us and work on our behalf. So the next one here is temporary, and temporary is an adjective. Mimi used a temporary green hair dye just for St. Patrick's Day. A temporary worker will be hired to fill in for Quan until he recovers from his injury. So temporary means short term. Okay? It means lasting for only a limited period of time, not permanent. That's the definition that's on page 9. So, sorry, it's number 9 on page 93. But temporary is the opposite of permanent. Temporary means just for a limited period of time, that it's not going to go on forever. So for example, if you get a temporary visa, it means that you can stay in the country for a short amount of time, but eventually either you need to get a new visa, or you have to leave the country. In the first example, a temporary green hair dye, it means that you can probably wash out the green hair dye. It's just going to last for a day or until you wash your hair out. In the second example, a temporary worker means that just until Quan gets better from his injury, the person will be filling in for you. Okay? Moving on to transparent. This is also an adjective. At first I thought the glass in the door was transparent and that I was seeing someone on the other side, but when I got closer I realized it was a mirror and I was looking at myself. Transparent wrap allows you to see what's inside a container. So transparent means that you have the ability to see through it. On page 93, it's number 1, allowing light to pass through so that objects on the other side can be seen. So basically, if we look at the picture there, we see that the glass case is transparent, meaning that you can see through it and you can see what is in the inside. So transparent, to go back to words from the last chapter, means that the external part is see-through, right? So that you can see the internal part. So transparent is often used for, like things like glass. Glass is transparent. You can see through it. A window is transparent. You can see through it. But we can also use transparent to talk about people. Okay, so earlier we talked about, with external and internal behavior. The external behavior is, how you act, and the internal one is how you feel. But we can sometimes describe people as being transparent, and that the way that they act externally really shows the way that they feel. They're not hiding anything. You can see through them and see how they actually feel about something. Okay, so transparent has this meaning. Okay, and then our last word here is triumph, and triumph is a noun. Oops. Triumph is a noun. Our football team's triumph over the state's first place team was the reason for a huge party. My brother's good teachers, his understanding parents, and his own hard work all led to his triumph over a learning disability. Triumph means a win. On page 93, triumph is number 5, an outstanding or very satisfying success, a victory. All right. So triumph. One thing is you look at it and you have over after it. This isn't always going to be the case, but oftentimes it will come with over. So triumph means a victory or a win in a difficult situation, right? It means that it's normally a victory or a win that requires a lot of work. So becoming president for that person would be a triumph. Oftentimes, though, when we use triumph with over, it means that it's a victory in which you had to defeat something. Someone or some difficulty that was in your way, that was an obstacle to your success. So in the first one, the triumph is over the first place team, right? The victory, the best team in the country, or sorry, in the state, that you had to defeat them in order to win. In the second example, the victory is over a learning disability. So some people have difficulty learning, either because they have difficulty reading, maybe something's wrong with their eyes, or something in their brain makes it difficult for them to understand what they've read. The triumph could also be all of you guys, when you get your degrees, or you get whatever it is that you're coming to school for. You're triumphing over a lot of difficulties. One thing is that this is not your native language, and it's not your native culture. So to be successful, we can call that a triumph, a great victory. All right. So go ahead and do the online activities and do the exercises, and then the questions, and then we'll go over the questions in class, and if you have any confusion, be sure to bring those questions with you to class. All right, take care. Bye.